Okay, welcome everybody. This session is extremely important because I'm going to be going over a simple study plan to make sure you know the WSC curriculum this year. As you know, it changes every year, so there's a new curriculum consisting of 6 subject areas: science, history, social studies, special area, which is kind of the wild card, it changes every year, then literature and art. So I'm going to be going over a simple plan and a few strategies you can implement to have great success in the curriculum, and then we're going to get right started into the history section this week. Okay, so this is the general plan, what we're going to do. So first, today is a little bit of background, and then we're going to have a bowl on the history. So these sessions, these Thursday sessions, are designed to just go through the content quickly. You get in your team and we just go through a few questions on the history section, and each week we go between the subjects. So this week it's history, next week it's socials, and then we do a challenge which is written by yourself on history and social, and then art, literature, and so on all the way until we review all 6 subject areas for a final bowl. So what you're supposed to do each week is to study the one subject area on your own, and I'm going to be telling you how to do that specifically. So this week, everyone's going to focus on history, and then when you come back here on Thursday, we're going to do a massive bowl, and there will be prizes. I have a bunch of candy for the winners. Okay, so a little bit on how to study for WSC. As you can see, this is some faulty logic. Studying does not equal fail. If you study, you will succeed. If you do not study, you will not succeed. I think it's pretty simple. This is not studying. Just looking at the paper and reading the curriculum is not studying. Just understand that simply going through the curriculum, reading all the terms, thinking you're studying is not studying. It's called a waste of time. And please observe the anger you will receive from just simply reading the curriculum, and then you want to kill yourself. So here is the learning pyramid, which is what basically the best ways to study. It tends to vary between person, but this is a very good outline as to what ways are more effective as to study. The least effective way, which only amounts to approximately 5% of your attention, is lectures. So I will not be up here telling you the content. It is not that effective. I will be giving you a few strategies here because this is the only lecture really we're going to be doing. Next is reading. As I said, reading is not studying. You do not want to be dying like this guy. Do not just read the curriculum. Next, audio, demonstration. Okay, so these are the most effective strategies. Group discussions, which is debates, which is what Amin and Victoria will be doing on the Tuesday sessions. And then practicing by doing. This is just doing questions and reviewing that way, and then teaching other people. This is something I would strongly recommend you do with your teammates. Get together with your teammates maybe once or twice a week outside, maybe go to a restaurant, maybe hang out at your friend's house, and then just go through the curriculum. Start teaching it to each other. As you gain more knowledge, this will be much easier to do, and it really reinforces the knowledge that you have gained when studying. Okay, so these are the 3 methods we will be doing in class. So you can teach your teammates, and then we'll be doing tests in these sessions, and then we'll also be doing group discussions, mainly on the Tuesday sessions. Okay, so how to study outside of class when you're not inside of this WSC club. Okay, this is a very important concept to understand. It's called the forgetting curve, and it demonstrates how important it is to study on a regular basis. As you can see, we have time here on the x-axis and then memory on the y. As you can see, if you do not study the content you've already learned again, you will start to forget it. So you have to keep regularly studying, keep reinforcing the same stuff. That way it stays for you for the long memory and you will never forget it. So make sure you keep studying regularly the content that you learn, or else you're gonna waste your time and forget everything. So again, reinforcing studying on a daily basis. One of the best strategies you can use for WSC is to use Quizlets. These are a bunch of Quizlets I've created. You can join the class here. I'll put that on the Google Classroom. Join it and just study 15 to 20 minutes. That's really all you need every single day, and it really builds up that daily studying, and you'll know all of the curriculum. I can guarantee you'll know everything if you do this every single day you'll know the entire curriculum by the regional rounds. So I have all the Quizlet here. I have the science, the art, the literature, and I just finished the history today. So you can go on, you can check those out, practice on the bus. You can practice in your dead time, which is periods during the day where you're not doing anything. This can be on the bus, when you're taking out the dog, when you're waiting to get a cavity removed at the dentist. I don't know, whenever you're just standing around looking at the ground or just checking social media, just open up Quizlet and practice. 10 minutes a day. Come on, we all have just 5-10 minutes a day just lying around. Use that time and you'll be extremely ahead of the curriculum. And this is extremely important, again, to reinforce. Research the terms yourself. Something that's extremely amazing about the World Scholars Cup is that it doesn't give you a list of things that you have to memorize by heart. Instead, it gives you a bunch of prompts and suggestions of things you could learn, and these prompts are designed in a way to evoke curiosity. As you can see, there's a bunch of questions here. You start looking into the questions, and the more you look into the questions, the more you'll start understanding the general subject areas and the terms around that. And then once you've done that, it's 100 times easier to actually memorize the terms using something like the Quizlets. As well as the fact that if you're actually, a lot of this stuff is extremely interesting. So the more you research yourself, the more you'll realize how interesting it is, and you'll want to keep studying. But if you're just to read a manual that someone gives you with all the information, it doesn't evoke that curiosity, and you'll soon lose all the motivation you need to keep studying. Okay, so here are a few helpful resources. If you're truly stuck, you can use my resources on my website. You can also use this one called Avon's Alpaca Resources. I met Avon Feda at Beijing Glow Around last year. An extremely amazing scholar. He has tons of resources answering all the questions here. So if you're stuck, you can go to these, but I would not recommend you start here. Always start back here at the curriculum, looking through the questions yourself. And then once you've done some of that, you can go to these websites and look through the information. And then there's this one, the Champion Scholar Initiative. This is extremely new. It just came out 2 weeks ago. So they have a bunch of new information. So it's definitely a good one. And then finally, to get some sleep. If you don't sleep, you will not remember the information that you study. They actually did this very interesting rat study. Basically, they deprived this rat of food for 2 weeks, and the rat survived, but it was hungry. And then they deprived the rat of sleep for 2 weeks, and the rat was dead. Like, just dead. So it shows how important sleep is for our life. And if you don't get sleep, you will not remember anything that happened through the day. And what's actually very interesting about sleep is when you sleep, your brain basically goes back and rewinds everything you've done in the day, and then sort of stores that in your long-term memory. So make sure you're getting a lot of sleep. If it's the day before the exam and you haven't studied anything, maybe it is a good idea to cram, although don't cram. Don't be like poor Bill. He pulls an all-nighter, misses the exam. I mean, the Scholars Challenge. Do not cram. Hopefully, since it's January right now, you have like 4 months to start studying. Use that time now. Don't save it up till the last week, because you're not going to get amazing results, and it's not going to work in your favor. Okay, so those are some general strategies for studying. Now we're going to go into the history curriculum this year for WSC 2020, starting off with the history of succession. So this is an overview of what you will learn about if you start going through the curriculum on the scholarscup.org. There's succession in history, and what it means by succession is to pass the power on to another member, the leadership position. So there's monarchy succession, there's also business succession, there's fictional systems of succession, like that of Doctor Strange, like that of Game of Thrones, like that of an anime called My Hero Academia. I don't watch anime. And then there's television succession. This is just hosts succeeding each other. An example would be The Late Show. Jimmy Falcon, who succeeded the previous show. I can't remember the name, but he was leading there for like 40-ish years. And then there's mafia succession, the Gambino family, and how they choose the next boss of the family tree. And then there's succession failure. This is when someone fails to succeed someone else, like what's happening in Boeing right now. And then succeeding, then returning. An example of this succession would be Steve Jobs, who was working at Apple, and then he got fired by his own people just to come back again and save the company. So some general advice for history, specifically that of the challenge. What they will ask you in the challenge is a few things. The first of which is the order of events of what happened. Okay, just knowing the general chronological order of succession, like this king came first, and then this, which resulted in this. Just the general order is very, very helpful to know. And then in the regional round, they specifically ask a lot of this, and it's just definitions. The application, and specifically the application of these definitions to these situations and the system of events. So make sure you understand all the definitions. Last year, I remember a question, it was, what is nepotism? And it's just the favor of family. So just some simple definitions will give you easy points for the challenge. So that's about it for today's session. The rest of the period will be for you to start studying the Quizlet, so you can check them out in the link in the classroom. And I don't want to be up here just boring you guys. So start studying.
Joaquin,
Make sure you look through these.
aren't you
That is about it. You can